Next, we will move on to the introduction of the EM Showcase. Mr. Hidekazu ISHIDA, Senior Advisor at FinCity.Tokyo. Please, let's welcome him with a round of applause. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Senior Advisor at the FinCity.Tokyo. My name is ISHIDA. So I'd like to talk about this year's EM Showcase. This is the third year that we're doing the EM Showcase. So I'm going to introduce you to the list of the emerging managers. So this EM Showcase, what is it? Let me explain how we select the EMs. So basically, we take the same approach as the previous years. So FSA publishes a list of managers, and also we look at the various databases. And the most important, we look at the websites of each of the managers. So we look at those public information, and we send email to the managers which we deem to have potential. So the EMP of FinCity.Tokyo, we call it the EMP, but we don't have any funds to actually invest in them. So we're not an investment program. Investment manager promotion is what we do. So P of EMP stands for promotion. So these are funds that are just starting up. They're very busy. So we contact them with email, and it's not necessarily the case that they would respond with all that's going on. So if we just accept those who apply, that would be adverse selection. And so, I mean, the strong funds, they are working actively on their investment, and I can understand that they would not respond. But we have the independence and entrepreneurship school, and we have various programs to support these organizations. So from early stages of the companies, we are in communication with these entities, and we provide to them our resources and network. And if there are entities that have useful information, we connect them. So through all these activities, we are able to form relationships, and we're seeing more examples of the asset managers contacting us. In compiling this list, especially asset owners that invest in private assets, we receive cooperation from them to introduce many emerging managers to us. So large fund of funds, and we have a lot of information exchange amongst the players. And this year, we received support from the organization supporting SMEs. And for the first time, venture debt fund was introduced or included for the first time. Some people said it's too early, but the startup finance is becoming larger in scale, and they are set to play a more important role as an asset class. And so that's why we included them. So as a result, 20 funds were selected by the committee members, and then we narrowed that down to 16 funds. So this is the EM Showcase 2026 lineup. You see the logos of each of the companies pasted here on their websites, or actually on our website. We have more detailed information in the list of the funds or the managers. So please refer to that information. So to the far left, we have equity and hedge funds. So that's where we really started. That was our initial focus. But the asset management, that is more moving toward private assets. So when we started the EM Showcase, venture capital, buyout, and other new asset classes were also included. So we have these three categories: Japanese equity, venture capital, and buyout, and others. So far left, Japanese equity and hedge funds, we selected three companies. And Comfort, that is engagement funds, and the crossover fund, a small-sized emerging manager, that's a fund note, and then there's the Nezu engagement fund. So those are the three companies. You may be familiar with them. There's Nezu Capital. That's an entity with a long history, so we should not treat them as newcomers. That may be a little impolite, but what is made open to the public is only this engagement fund. So as a company with this Nezu engagement fund, they have embarked on a new beginning. So that is why we have selected them. So this field, 12 companies have been selected last year and 2 years, last year and the year before. So number not so big this year, but there's more interest in Japanese equity, and so there is a lot of new entities being formed, according to the reports. And here are those that have received licenses in Japan. So it's limited to them. So funds established overseas that invest in Japanese equity, how we should cover those funds is something that we like to consider for the future. So for venture capital, we've selected 7. I unfortunately don't have time to go through each one. So later, I hope that you read the profile of each. And there's this big trend: large venture funds, corporate ventures, and government entities. So in those places where they have experienced startup investment and has been successful, they are creating their own funds. We see many such examples. And what was impressive this year is there are people who did M&A in listed companies. So it's a generation of a new generation of management. And as venture capitalists, they have now shifted to become investors. We see such examples. So for domestic technology investment, it's not just for small IPO, so it is more evolved. And I think this is where we see examples of such developments. And finally, buyout and others, we have selected 6 managers as a buyout fund. 3, Renovia, Diaz, and Riva. These are the buyout funds. And there are funds that also invest in listed companies. Growth Partner is one example. And venture debt is a new asset class. And the 2 managers selected for that. And we will hear from some of these. Not all can be on the stage, but they are joining us for the networking. So I hope that there will be opportunities for investors to talk to each of these funds. So EM Showcase, it's not just about selecting each year and then that's it. Rather, we focus on the cumulative 3-year achievements. And this is what we've done in the past 3 years. Some of the funds have been closed. And there are those other funds that are not always open for new investment. So we see some examples of that, but a simple search will reveal that there are managers who have established follow-up funds. And there are many such examples, and I think that's very encouraging. And finally, a question that we get often, I'd like to address that and explain. So EM Showcase, most important, is not about recommending investment. FinCity.Tokyo is not an asset manager. So the entities in this list does not reflect our opinions about investment. So in our research, we do not receive materials from the entities that would be available for due diligence. And so each of the investors need to make their own judgments about whether or not to invest in these managers. But you might say the one on the left or one on the top must be superior to others. I'm sure there are many ways to look at this. Actually, it's not so organized. There is no meaning in the order. So it's orderless. There's no meaning in the order in the list. So I talk about using the bird to catch fish. And so it's not the message that the bird is catching a lot of fish. And the asset managers are those who control the birds. And they are providing the funds. And so there's the asset owner principle, talking about fair trading. I think that is what's happening. And also to repeat, EM Showcase is not an exhaustive list. So asset owners, those of you who are here, I would call on you to receive disclosures, and Japan Post Insurance, they refer to our activities. So I hope that you do similar things to revitalize the capital market in Japan and provide risk money. That is what I would like to request of you. So that concludes my explanation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'd like to extend a big round of applause